All right, I'm with my neighbor here, Nicole.
Hello.
She's my bright muse today. And I came outside, 15, 20 minutes ago, and I was about to get in my car and give myself a real Thanksgiving by going and hanging by myself because my family was driving me nuts. Just my immediate family. I wasn't even with my extended, so yeah. Kids fighting, and I was like, I made a big meal for y'all. I'm just gonna go outside and go to my friend's house who's not home and crash there for a little while. I'll let her know. And then I came outside, and this sweet family was needing to get some pictures, and y'all totally distracted my mood, and I'm so thankful. I thought, I'm gonna talk to Nicole about 2020 and Thanksgiving and quarantine. We're at very different stages with our kids, and just tell me a little bit about, like, what's today been like, that it's not normally, and how different it's been.
Well, we're not with family, so that's one thing with big family. The other thing is I just feel like COVID in general has taken the fun out of everything. Like, just enjoying normal life stuff. Like, even when I let her go to the playground, I get nervous about it. Or just, germs in general. And it takes the enjoyment level out of normal life experiences. And I'm not going to lie, this morning we were watching the Macy's Day Parade. Mm-hmm. And I started crying because there was nobody watching it.
Oh my gosh.
Because they had no crowd. That's just sad, that nobody.
Okay. We saw the one. By the time we saw it, they were showing the one from last year. I didn't realize they had one this year.
So they had one this year, and nobody could watch it. And I was just like, I told Chris, I was like, I don't know why I'm crying right now, but I think it's because nothing in life is normal, right? And it's just not a normal year. You have to count your blessings, and that's what we've been saying all day. We're like, we got to count our blessings. We've been healthy throughout this whole thing, and, we've gotten a lot of family time, which I've actually enjoyed, which I wouldn't have gotten because I do work. But, just little things that you just can't enjoy, like going to the playground on Thanksgiving, or seeing your grandparents, or, being around a bunch of people and having a Friendsgiving even, or just not even caring. I feel like I just get nervous about every new person I'm around because you never know, like, if they're going to have it, or you can't live in fear, and I know that. But then I also, I always just get nervous about having a toddler, and you don't know what's going to happen when they get it. Even if they don't, apparently kids don't get it as bad, but just in general, life not being the same.
Yeah. Or sitting right next to your neighbor who's made you go on film, and you don't know if she has anything. I don't, to my knowledge.
Hopefully.
I'm like, oh, yeah. I don't recommend this. Everybody, you don't just need to
go
out.
Maybe we should be in 6 feet.
I'm sorry.
Maybe we should be wearing masks.
I'm so hypocritical. I don't even go anywhere. Like, we're going to be safe and stay home. And then, whatever. But, I agree. Like, you can't live in fear.
But then you also have to be careful, right?
Yeah, but then I'm like, I gotta talk to somebody who's not 10 or 13. Like,
no,
they're great, but it's just been such an interesting year. And even though we were arguing and stuff, I was like, we're gonna want to film this because this is gonna be a historic year. And we've had some sweet moments, of course, today. In between the kids arguing, like, and I used to not be a yeller, y'all. I don't know, the last 8 months, I am now like a regularly yelling parent. 0 to 60, I'm like, fast up!
What's bad about me is I do this thing sometimes if I get a little aggravated at Avery. If she, like the other night, she dropped soup all over me, and I'll go, Avery. Well, now she started doing, and I'm like, that's not good. I can't do that anymore. She's getting it from me, and I can't be the one that's grunting and getting her to, when she's frustrated now, she goes, and I'm like, you did not get that from Mom.
So just wait until they start repeating the swear words you're saying. You're like, oh, that's totally
now I've already started to the point where I'm like, okay, everything I do, she does, so I've got to watch what I do.
I know.
But saying that though, I also think like they do see the good things. So I think trying to be thankful in this time and trying to be appreciative of what we have and what we still have, and I think that makes them do the same,
Yeah.
Because they see the good and bad.
Right.
So trying to be the parent is the hard part because you've got to be the one that's optimistic and thankful sometimes you don't want to be.
Right.
But it rubs off on everybody.
Yeah. Or you could just leave like I'm about to do and just be like, see ya.
Well, it's better than yelling.
I'm gonna have a real Thanksgiving with some silence. But yeah, I mean, as long as I can keep humor about it, I feel like I can yell and then laugh. And I told my kids today, I was like, you know what? Y'all know what you were doing. You were driving me crazy. I don't really feel that bad about yelling. Like, I don't think it's a good habit.
Right.
You know, I'll try to go back to normal when we all get vaccinated or whatever and try not to yell as much. But I'm like, I don't feel normal. Y'all know what you're doing.
But you have to know, like, what you're going through is normal, too. I feel like a lot of parents are frustrated. I mean, when you're around someone a lot, and you got to remember, too, you get the most aggravated at the people you love the most.
Yeah.
Like Chris and I talk about that all the time when we always fight or are mean to each other, but I'm like, we only do that because we love each other more than anybody else, and we feel comfortable enough to be able to do that and know that you're still going to love me even though I'm yelling at you.
There's safety.
There's safety. And so, like, that's why, as growing up, we did that to our moms, we do that. And you got to think about that, too, with your kids. If they're ever rude to you or anything, it's because they love you and there's a safety they feel with you. Not that it makes it right at all. I'm not saying it's never acceptable for a kid to, talk down to their parents. But I do think it comes out a lot of times on the people we love the most. And I know that I always regret it when I do that to the people I love the most.
Right.
But it is a thing that always happens.
Right. Yeah. So I guess the theme here, grace.
Random. Yeah, grace.
Grace. I listened to this podcast called Pantsuit Politics. Mm-hmm. So good. I highly recommend it to everyone listening to this. But these women talked about how their audience was saying, don't use the word grace too much. And I don't think they mean to be explicitly Christian. Like, yeah, you're turning away an audience, because you use this word. And so they said, okay, we hear you. And so they went far and wide to look for a word that holds the same meaning. And they found some that were similar, of course, but nothing really captured grace with that word and all that it means. And so I love that. And yeah, I just feel like grace. If I had to put a word on this year, not that we have done it well, or not that I've done it well, but I feel like everything that's gone on just requires a massive amount of grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And patience.
We don't know what people are going through.
No.
Grace and patience, yeah. Or grace when we don't have the patience, so.
Yes.
Anyway.
I think COVID and quarantine makes emotions higher, too. Whereas, like, someone on the normal day, I think all anxiety, all of those just have gotten way high on alert. And I think it's just because you're in a situation you don't really know what to do or how to control it.
Right.
So people go to those things that they feel like they can control. And I think it just elevates during times like this too. So it's normal to feel.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The good neus is it's normal. The bad news is it's normal.
It's normal that we're all crazy and we're all tired of all of it.
Oh, you just gotta laugh, cry, and then laugh.
It's going to get better.
It's going to get better. We're all going to get some
And this
shots.
is the worst of it. This is the worst of it. At least we're not all, like, really in quarantine.
Right. It could be. Let's not even say that.
We're not shut down right now, so we'll have to think of the positives. But it's going to get better.
Yeah. It's like at the end of a marathon, or for whoever runs, they're awful. Don't ever do them. Or at the end of
I've done 2 and I'll
labor.
never do them again. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done.
Actually, labor was better than marathon.
I agree.
At least you get an epidural when you're running. You can't.
Oh, man. But yeah, when you feel like you're at the end and you can't do any more, like that's when relief comes in. I feel like with anything, when you feel like I cannot do one more thing, I cannot take one more step, I cannot do one more whatever it is, that's when relief comes. So,
yes, for sure.
We'll get there. Thanks, Nicole, for being my bright muse.
You're welcome. Anytime.